You're watching ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. Welcome to the T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. And welcome to Day 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Spectrum Center, where 15 teams entered and 12 remain. 15-seeded Pitt and 7-seeded NC State will start off our Day 2 quadruple header. 5 teams came into this tournament on the bubble. 2 likely had their bubbles burst yesterday, Virginia Tech and Stanford, courtesy of a 1-point Pitt win. SMU, Louisville to follow us. The 4 teams with a double bye wait tomorrow. Kevin Brown, 3-time ACC tournament champion. Jay Williams, a great showing by Pitt yesterday. A last-second physical win against an NC State team that really needs to fight to secure a tournament bid.
You know, typically, KB, you hear these coaches' cliches about the tougher team wins. And a lot of the toughness for NC State has been questioned, not only by their fan base, but also by Will Wade. Today we find out if NC State is tough or just talented, because they're playing against a Pitt team that is playing like cornered animals. And it all started with their defensive mindset yesterday. And DeMarco Minor, who was the MVP, who did an incredible job on Iboka Okori, a guy coming into this game averaging 23 points, held him to 14 points on 3 turnovers, and then had the biggest rebound of the game for his 4th point to secure a major victory for the Panthers.
With 7/10 of a second to go, he sent Pitt into the second round, and now he gets to guard another All-ACC guard. Quadir Copeland leading the conference with 6.6 assists per game. A wizard of a playmaker for the Wolfpack, who started 9-2 in the league and are 1-6 since. Justin Porterfield, Ron Groover, Clarence Armstrong, our officiating crew. It is NC State ball to start, and away we go in the second round in Charlotte. And immediately it is Minor on Copeland. DeMarco Minor giving up about 6 inches to Quadir Copeland today. Van Allen Lubin will take the first shot, and the ACC leader in field goal percentage has the first 2. Starting 5 for Pitt. Get used to these names. The Panthers would go maybe 7, maybe 8 deep. Minor, Witherspoon, the guards. Barry Dunning had a big shot with a minute and a second to go yesterday. And then Ciolepa and Corin were menaces down low for Pittsburgh. 25 second chance points, 20 offensive rebounds. Minor had the biggest one of the game in their win over Stanford, 64-63.
Well, North Carolina State's win over Pitt in their last meeting, a guy like Van Allen Lubin had 17 points and 12 rebounds, shooting over 50% in every game with the exception of 2 this season.
Corin gets an open look, clangs the jumper, and Lubin has the rebound. He and Copeland are joined in the starting 5 by Trey Holloman, a transfer from Michigan State, Darian Williams, a transfer from Texas Tech, both with big game experience, and the great shooter Paul McNeil Jr. Here's Williams trying to body his way into the paint, didn't even draw the rim, and Corin has the Pitt rebound. Pitt offensively, Jay, slowest paced team in the ACC. What do they do to get good shots today?
Well, I think you have to find ways to attack the rim. As you see, Dunning, who's played every single minute, 40+ over the last 3 games, really finding his rhythm from shooting the ball yesterday. But I think it starts with attacking that zone that you see NC State in, getting the ball in the middle of the zone, turning face and making a play.
Williams, preseason player of the year in the ACC, real up and down season. Didn't even make an All-ACC team, and he's 0 for 2.
That's not when NC State's offense is going to be at its best. There were no passes made on that last possession.
Ciolepa with a layup. He had 15 and 13 in the win over NC State, and Pitt has 5 in a row.
This is the matchup right here. Minor going against Copeland.
Copeland trying to use his strength. Missed the shot in the lane. Rebound Dunning.
A lot harder for a guard of Copeland's side to go against Minor, who's around 6 feet tall, can get up underneath him.
Minor pulls up for 3, and Will Wade takes a timeout after 2 minutes and 23 seconds. A shrug on his face, an 8-2 Pitt lead on the scoreboard.
Well, I told you yesterday that DeMarco Minor was the MVP of the game. There's nothing minor about him. His game is major.
Pitt has had to win its last 2 games to keep its season alive for Jeff Capel, who may be coaching for his job here this week at Pitt, his 8th season. but you've seen the fight of the Panthers show up. They won in overtime Syracuse Saturday to just get to the ACC tournament. Knocked off Stanford by 1 yesterday. Trey Holloman off the back rim. 4 straight one-and-done trips for State. Here is Cialepa for a Pitt team that has been effusive in its praise of its head coach of late. They are very short-handed. 3 critical players are out due to injury or medical concerns. Another one, Noyes Indrisitis, suffered a thigh contusion yesterday. And yet here they are with an early 8-2 lead. Corin driving in on Lubin. On the kick, Cialepa. No good for 3. Rebound Williams.
I think that's what Corin needs to attack Van Allen Lubin, considering the lack of size that NC State has.
Holloman misses a 3. 5 straight one and
not too much depth for NC State, and you get Van Allen Lubin in foul trouble, you have a major advantage.
Minor with a deep hoist, and Copeland's got the board. NC State, 4th best offense in the ACC this year, as Copeland delivers to Lubin, who follows up his own miss.
Well, Copeland is so good at utilizing that shiftiness and getting in those gaps and being a playmaker. He accounts for 31 points per game off his scoring and his assist. The leading assist man in the ACC and for this team.
Marty Witherspoon, a freshman, had a wonderful game for Pitt yesterday. Scored 11, his most since January. And he drains a tough step back 3. Pitt has hit 3 threes in the opening 4+ minutes.
Guy celebrating his 20th birthday, only shooting 21% from the 3-point line in ACC play. Is this March Madness or what?
Yesterday, Jay, Pitt was 3 for 17 from deep. Williams finally gets one to go from deep for NC State. Their first 3. Panthers are 3 for 5.
Copeland just a big-time playmaker. If anything, you want to make him a scorer. Don't know if you want to help off Darian Williams, leaving him open for a wide-open 3 in the corner.
Pitt was the 2nd worst 3-point shooting team of the 18 in ACC play. And they are 4 for 6 now as Dunning connects. His second 3. Pitt is up by 7. Copeland. Minor doing a great job on the ball again. Copeland works his way around him, got Minor in the air and rolled it home for 2. Hit him with the 2 small as well. And he'll go to the line for a 3-point opportunity when we come back. Pitt with the early advantage in Charlotte. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
NC State can feel it. Something that has never happened in this league. 5 games in 5 days. A remarkable, astounding week for the North Carolina State Wolfpack, and let the celebration begin in Raleigh.
That is the last time NC State was at the ACC tournament. Remember, last year they didn't even make the ACC tournament. They had to win every game 2 years ago to get in. They were not a viable at-large case. They are now. It's a good resume, not a great one. 35 and then at 43 in the wins above bubble, which is more of a results-based metric. 5 quad 1 wins. Joe Lunardi has them in the last 4 byes. But a loss today would be a quad 3 loss, and maybe knock them out, maybe knock them down to Dayton, depending on what happens the rest of the week.
I think that would be the case, and you think a team like this that has lost 4 straight, including their last home game to Stanford, where Corey went off for 33. Will Wade talked about the other day, where he's called for more toughness, urgency, and leadership throughout the course of the season. And my thing is, KB, is it still March and you're still looking for that? That doesn't put your team in the best particular situation.
If you're a coach and you're figuring it out now, you got some issues. Dunning is off the mark from 3, but it's followed up by Corin. We know who Pitt is. They may be 13 and 19. They may be on the verge of elimination, but they've figured out in the last couple of weeks, Jay, exactly what kind of team they want to be.
The last time these teams played, Pittsburgh was plus 21 on the glass as Rox McNeil knocked down the 3. That is what he does. And also, Pitt had 26 offensive rebounds. Pitt can't get consumed with taking long shots. They need to continue to crash the glass and get second chance points.
Every Pitt starter has scored. Minor with a couple of assists to go along with his three-point bucket. Very patient Pitt team. Witherspoon tries to charge into Lubin, and Matt Abel off the bench comes in and commits a foul.
Good rotation over. I don't know if he got fouled like that. He got hit on the hand. Hand is part of the ball. This is March Madness, man. You got to play through it.
McNeil, an elite three-point shooter, leads the conference 42%. Cialeppa will get the first Pitt breather. Noyes Indricitis is in. He's wearing that left calf. What do you call that? A wrap on the left calf? A sleeve? Left calf sleeve?
Call whatever you need to keep the calf warm.
Thigh contusion. And McNeil smacks it away. Goes back to Dunning. Has to hoist one to shoot. Got the iron and rebounded by Copeland. Pitt said that Indricitis is going to try to give it a go today. See how he feels after knocking knees yesterday. Lubin's layup makes this a one-point game.
Okay, that's 3 assists right now for Copeland off a high little ball screen. Finds an edge on Minor, turns that corner. One of the best in the game of college basketball at reading and reacting by dear Copeland.
NC State has made 5 straight since a 1-for-7 start. Minor shoved out as far as Dunning. Will Wade wants hands up high, and the high hands commit a foul.
And you'll see Copeland, a guy averaging 7 assists per game. In transition, a little ball screen by Van Allen, a little slip pass, and an easy finish. Just makes the game so easy. I swear, Van Allen should be paying Copeland for the amount of assists that he delivers just on a tray right to his chest. I mean, where a guard delivers the ball is so imperative, and Copeland delivers the ball right to the target that Lubin provides.
Copeland, the most assists for an NC State player in the regular season since the great Chris Corciani, 1990-91. But NC State gets lost defensively there, and Indricitis hits a 3 on his first shot off the bench. Copeland responds by getting to the line. 2 free throws coming for Quadir Copeland. 6'6" senior out of Philly. Check this list out. In the last 30 seasons in the ACC, 400 points, 200 assists in a season. It's only been done 2 other times, during Grant Notre Dame and then Grievous Vasquez in the glory days of Maryland basketball.
That's 2 fouls now on DeMarco Minor, so they're going to have to make a situation on what he decides to do. He'll probably come out of the ball game, take some, and that's a major advantage because of the amount of ball pressure that Minor puts on a guy like Copeland. But when you think about Copeland, he puts so much pressure on the rim, and words I have to describe him: herky-jerky, long strides. Also the last word, yapper. I mean, he talks. He gets himself going each and every game. He is the DNA and the personality for this NC State team.
77% free throw shooter, goes 1 for 2. Holloman will replace Copeland. Akari Moore is in the game for Pitt. 6'3" freshman who gave Pitt so many great minutes yesterday. 15 minutes, the second most of his season. Cialeppa back on for Corin as well. This is Sagne big off the bench for NC State. Terrence Arsenault as well. Witherspoon trying to take command. Short on the turnaround.
No need for a fadeaway jumper. Should have just went straight up. Created great separation on the move. Didn't have to fade away at all.
Abel takes Cialeppa to the basket.
I'm telling you, man, next year you're going to see the name Matt Abel everywhere as a returning superstar. We talk about a lot of other freshmen in the game of college basketball, but he is exceptional.
Hyper-talented kid, 6'6" from Baltimore. Cialeppa lost it. Arsenault saved it. Marion Williams runs the floor. Sets up Abel, whose shot is deflected down to Witherspoon. Looking ahead for Dunning. Barry Dunning Jr. with an early 8.
NC State, by playing that zone, can lure you into taking a lot of threes and contested shots. What you saw Pittsburgh do yesterday against Stanford was dominate them with points in the paint. Driving and attacking, getting to the free throw line was their advantage.
Williams trying to get going, spins it out. Indricitis, who defended him, has the rebound. 3-point lead for Pitt, which has led the whole game after falling behind 2-0. Indricitis against the big man Scotty Ebube. Low pass, Indricitis saves it. Witherspoon three. Rainbow is good. 6-3 in the first half for red-hot shooting Pittsburgh. The second worst three-point shooting team in ACC games has taken it to the second best three-point shooting team in ACC games. Holloman answers. An even higher archer for Trey Holloman.
Trey Holloman has the ability to knock down shots from the outside, especially over a contested shot by Ciarepa right there. A big-time shot.
Still waiting for the 12-minute media timeout. Felt like every timeout yesterday in the Pitt game, we had to wait for a couple extra minutes because they don't turn it over and they lead out the clock on these possessions. And Witherspoon will draw a foul with 3.5 to go. 4 different players with a 3 for Pitt. The Panthers are 6 for 10 today after going 3 for 17 a little less than 24 hours ago. Omari Witherspoon found Barry Dunning for a rare Pitt runout. And the Panthers trying to become the first 15 seed to win 2 at the ACC tournament.
This Pittsburgh team has been shooting 33% from the three-point line, averaging 8 made threes per game. Thus far in this first half, they already have 6, shooting 60% from the three-point line. In a day and age where you would think these guys were so tired because of the defensive execution you saw yesterday against Stanford, you would think heavy legs, but that has not been the case from beyond the arc for the Panthers at the start of this game. I mean, just look at that. Just shooting the lights out to start this game.
4 different players with a 3. Dunning has a couple. Witherspoon has a couple. Indricitis, weren't sure how much he could even play. He hit a 3. NC State, 7 of its last 9, doesn't have a turnover, and yet Pitt has been in the lead pretty much the whole way.
This is the matchup you want. You want Corin to attack Van Allen Lubin.
Slip it through to Corin, and he lays it in.
If you're Corin, you're looking at that matchup, understanding that NC State does not have depth at the front court position, and attacking that, getting him in foul trouble gives you a major advantage in this game.
Copeland turns it over. First of the game, NC State. Witherspoon. A collision with Matt Abel and Omari Witherspoon, 2 freshmen from Maryland. That was a little Baltimore on Bowie run-in right there. And both players are on their feet.
Just got tripped up with the legs there. It didn't look like anything intentional. Common foul.
That is the second on Abel. What a game by Witherspoon yesterday. 11 points, his most in 11 games. It's January the 27th. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. I mean, like all the Pitt starters, he's been playing 35 to 40 minutes a game for over a month now. Brandon Cummings, guard, who is their leading scorer, missed 14 games now with an ankle injury. 2 big men. Deshaun Jackson, never cleared this year, was going to be their big get in the portal. Papa Conte only played 8 games, knee surgery. They're as undermanned as anybody who's still playing. And yet they lead by 7 after a win yesterday over Stanford. McNeil. Copeland trying to take the freshman more. Copeland. They'll get to the line for 2 more. Well, another big tournament going over at Kansas City, the Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament bracket. We got a bubble game right here with NC State and a big bubble game at 3 o'clock. UCF and Cincinnati, the 8-9. Iowa State, Arizona State starting it off in just a few minutes over on ESPN. How about Iowa State, the 5 seed? How good is your league? Iowa State's the 5 seed.
They're a team that could end up in Indianapolis for the Final Four with the way they play. Obviously, free throw shooting is a challenge for the Cyclones, but still one of the top teams in the nation. I think there are about 7 or 8 teams that can win the national championship this year. I know that Duke and Michigan and Arizona have separated themselves. UConn has fallen off a little bit. But I truly believe, I think the team right now that is probably playing the best basketball is Florida. And Florida could repeat as national champions.
Over the top seed in the SEC tournament. Andrositis with his second 3. 7 made triples for Pitt. Largest lead for the 15 seed in this game. Copeland. And Copeland draws his 4th foul of the game. He's trying to get everybody on Pitt into foul trouble.
Copeland's so good at getting to his spots. But if you're an opponent of his, you want to turn him into a scorer. The more he focuses on scoring, is the less the offensive rhythm of their team takes place. He doesn't get other people involved. So this plays into what Pittsburgh wants him to do.
It's interesting. He averages 11 field goal attempts in their losses, 8 in their wins. He's got some high volume, high point games that NC State has lost. 6.6 assists per game, lead the ACC.
Well, think about it, KB. They average 16 assists per game. So, without him on the floor, they're only averaging 9. Just the ball doesn't really find energy by finding other people because he's the only playmaker on the court. Everybody else plays in a one-on-one isolated situation.
He's got 6 of his 8 at the line. And they're 8 to play in this first half. Pitt leading by 6. Horn against McNeil. Big on guard. Lubin comes over to double. Andrositis hits his 3rd 3. They cannot be stopped. Pitt is at its season average for made 3s with 7:40 to go in the first half. Holloman into the corner. McNeil shot ready, shot fake, shot missed, but a foul. This time McNeil does get the whistle and he'll shoot 3 when we come back.
Well, great post up, great drive, turn, and base by Korn. Andrositis relocating, hands ready. Splash. Pittsburgh on fire in the first half.
Every March, millions of people experience bracket brain. Thankfully, there's ESPN Tournament Challenge. So download the ESPN Tournament Challenge app and get you and your brain in the game.
And if you have a case of Andrositis, please consult Dr. Joe Lenardi. That's what NC State has right now. He's got him as a 10 seed in the last 4 byes. SMU is Joe's second to last team in the field. They'll play our next game against Louisville. There are the ACC projections. Duke of 1, Virginia of 4, Carolina, Louisville behind that. Doesn't look good for Stanford or Virginia Tech, whose resumes are complete after they lost yesterday, and then Cal against Florida State tonight.
I'm curious, KB, if you have a bad case of Andrositis, what does the doctor prescribe?
Maybe a little tighter defense. A couple more closeouts. McNeil hits the first 2 at 3. This is amazing. Pitt, we thought Pitt would come out and play with a punch today because that's what they've been doing now for the last couple of weeks. But this is not who Pitt typically is, a 3-point shooting unit. They're 8 for 12 as McNeil hits all 3. NC State, Jay, 8 for 16 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, 9 for 10 from the line. They're shooting brilliantly. They got 1 turnover. And they're losing.
Yeah, NC State's game plan was to force them to settle from the outside for a team that shoots 33%. They gave up so many points in the paint in their last matchup. As I alluded to before, Pitt was plus 21 in the glass in their last game with 26 offensive rebounds. But obviously, this is March Madness, and anything is possible.
Now, Dr. Lenardi might tell you this. The cure for the common three-point offense can be face NC State. They give up a ton of shots from three. 45% of the shots against NC State are threes. That's among the highest rates in the country. And they don't defend them very well either. McNeil passes up a three, takes it in, missed the layup, and a late whistle's in there. The previous foul going to break was on Cialepa. This one is as well, so that's 2 on Cialepa. Minor's on the bench with 2. Moore is on the bench with 2. And again, Pitt has basically a 7-man rotation.
Well, Cialepa got called for that first foul when he challenged the shot of McNeil Jr. on that elbow extended wing and caught him with the body. He tried to play straight up, but Cialepa looks a little bit winded and tired. Looks like those legs are heavy from how he played yesterday, considering the type of dominance he had in the paint.
And he'll leave the game with 2 fouls. 6:58 to go in the half. They've swelled the lead a little bit with Minor on the bench, but now Pitt has 42% of its rotation in foul trouble.
Without Minor in the game, Holloman doing a really good job of applying ball pressure. Has to do that without fouling, but with Witherspoon being the primary ball handler and Minor being out, it gives NC State an opportunity to create offense off of their defense by creating turnovers.
Trey Holloman picks up his first foul. Stunning. Rebound. Spilled off of Copeland, stays with Pitt. Snapped a streak of 5 straight makes for the Panthers. 12 for 19, 63%. For the last team to get into this tournament field. There's a turnover by Witherspoon. Holloman surging down the court, takes a bucket and finish. He'll shoot more free throws. The foul on Indricitis, and NC State is in the bonus.
Credit by NC State having active hands there defensively, creating points off those turnovers like we talked about earlier. And McNeil Jr. and Holloman have been deciding to attack the basket and not just settle for threes. Get to the free throw line.
Holloman took a little shove there, and Trey Holloman is trying to walk this off before shooting free throws. Senior transfer from Michigan State.
Caught a hip check here by Indricitis. You know, those calls for me are tough, especially when the offensive player initiates the contact and is able to come off. I think it should be a no call.
Last 9 NC State points have come at the line. First meeting between these teams, January 24th. NC State 22 of 27 at the line. And Pitt was 11 of 25. So NC State was plus 11 at the foul line. And a game where they were out-rebounded by 21, but still won.
Horn is the biggest guy on the court and has not yet touched the ball in the painted area.
Gonna work against
get the ball down. That's how you attack the other team's best player.
Boyd leaves it short. Darian Williams, quiet start with 3 points, no assists. In a year of fits and starts for Darian Williams, who was maybe the top prize in the transfer portal this offseason. So it's NC State over Kansas, coming over from a great Texas Tech team. That foul on Witherspoon will put NC State at the line for a 1-and-1.
You know, Darian Williams has had to play through a lot this season. The ACC preseason player of the year, finishing the year on none of the ACC final season teams. Honorable mention. And it was difficult for him. A lot of highs and lows, but trying to play through it. And still as an elite player, just needs to have an elite finish to the season for NC State to have a chance to make a run.
Will Wade was rather fiery in his defense of Darian Williams at the start of conference play. But it's been a frustrating year. He said after the Stanford game Saturday, where Darian had just 4-point shot, 1 of 8, he said, I haven't done a good enough job helping him out. Williams missed a game with a shoulder injury this year. He's played through that as well. Don't know how much that's affecting him at this point in the year. NC State has a 7-0 run, more of a 7-0 jog. Every point has been at the free throw line. And there's a foul away from the ball.
You know, one of the ways you can attack an opposing team's best player is doing it on the defensive end. If NC State is switching and a guy like Williams or Copeland has to guard the size of Corn down low, Pittsburgh has to make a priority to get the ball down towards him to attack that matchup.
Witherspoon looking for Indrusitis. Actually more inbounds at the Dunning. Corn being guarded by Copeland right now, and now Williams switches onto him. Indrusitis attacking. Dunning, catch and shoot. Left it short. Abel with a deep one. Abel shoots the Wolfpack in front for the first time since 2-0. Timeout Pitt, as NC State has slow-rolled their way into a lead.
I said before that Matt Abel will be featured in every breakout sophomore article coming this offseason. This freshman can hoop.
Matt Abel with the first state field goal in almost 5 minutes, and yet capped off a 10-0 run.
Well, Pitt just settling for a lot of outside jumpers, and NC State decided to attack the glass, get to the free throw line, found a better rhythm offensively, and just playing with the right type of momentum. Even on the defensive end, active hands getting a ton of deflections, and they're communicating now.
Pitt doing a lot of this without Minor, and that is an offensive foul going to go against Cam Corrin, who pleads his case to Ron Groover. Just the first foul on Corrin, who did foul out in 25 minutes yesterday, fouled out against NC State earlier.
Well, yeah, you just can't set a screen using your hands like that. Yeah.
Is he saying he got pushed into it? Double push? Otherwise, a pretty open and shut case. Well, NC State will shoot 2 the rest of the way. That's 10 team fouls on Pitt, or 9 team fouls. The next one in the double bonus.
Lose shooters.
They did. McNeil, another one from deep. He's into double figures. Make it 13 straight for State. What does Pitt have to end the half here? Panther team with a short rotation that's had to grind out 2 win or go home games. Fumbled by Corrin, recollected by Witherspoon for 3. Nine threes and a half. Witherspoon and Indrusitis both 3 for 3 from deep. Copeland attacks at the other end.
A game going back and forth right now. Teams making big time shots.
Copeland in the double figures.
This pace favors NC State.
Indrusitis off the window and good. They didn't know how much he could play because of the left thigh contusion. He's perfect from the field for 11 points. And it takes a hard fall to get Pitt within 1. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let our expertise round out yours.
Coming up from Charlotte on the Sargento halftime report, we'll break down the first half between Pitt and NC State. You'll get Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim's thoughts on Red Autry's dismissal at Syracuse, and you will hear from the national champion Joel Berry. And the 1990 ACC Player of the Year is here, ladies and gentlemen. Dennis Scott makes his debut on the Sargento halftime report. Fortunately, Kevin Brown and Old 22 get you to the rest of the half.
What a star-studded cast. My gosh.
You imagine that backcourt with 3D and Joel Berry with Boeheim as the coach? I'm not trying to see that.
We need to know would Jim have let 3D and Joel command the top of the zone?
I think Joel and 3D are more focused on offensive productivity. That's why you play zone. Jim knows what he's doing. You think about the free throw rate for this game. This is now Pitt's 3rd free throw attempt of the game, opposed to State's 16 free throw attempts. So it tells you who's been the aggressor attacking the paint.
It'll be Andrusaitis to take that free throw attempt. DeMarco Minor has returned, by the way. He checked out at the 12:20 mark with 2 fouls. Andrusaitis. Well, people said I didn't like how he moved in the second half yesterday after he banged knees. Official word is a thigh contusion. Pitt didn't know how much he could contribute today. Well, he's got 12 points. He hasn't missed a shot from the field, from the 3, and now from the line. 40-40, under 4 to play. McNeil, 3. Got it! What a pure stroke!
And multiple times, Pitt has left Paul McNeil Jr. with a slight gap, and he has one of the quickest triggers in all of college basketball.
NC State started 1 for 7, 11 out of 13 cents. Cam Corrin, there's the soft paint touch, and Corrin's got 6. Copeland taken away by Corrin. That's the second State turnover. Andrusaitis.
Give him the ball down low. You gotta give him the ball.
McNeil's on Corrin, is working hard. Instead, a hoisted 3 by Witherspoon.
You got the matchup you want with McNeil on Corrin. You gotta make it a priority.
Lupin sprints down the floor and gets fouled as Witherspoon contested the shot. That's on Witherspoon. That'd be his second as well.
Now I want you to see how quick this trigger is by McNeil. Look, he catches the ball in the pocket. He's already in his shooting motion. You have to stay attached to him at all times. And if Copeland's going to drive, you have to hedge and get back to him. You can't leave and step in the gap and allow a guy like McNeil Jr., who's the best three-point shooter on this team, to find rhythm from the outside.
Now, Paul McNeil had a game this year where he hit 11 threes, tied the ACC record. 3 players have hit 11 threes in a game. Craig Dawson, Wake Forest 02, Paul McNeil this year, and a gentleman by the name of Dennis Scott in 1988. Yeah, that one. He was 11-3 deep in that game.
Paul McNeil Jr., did you just say 11-3?
Yeah, he had 11 threes in the game.
You're so unique.
What? You can't be so unique, Jay. You can only be unique.
No, you're so unique.
Okay. That would have been in your 4th year, but you had to graduate in 3, so you missed that class.
They couldn't pay me for the 4th year.
You sure about that? Holloman commits a foul. It's his second.
I was going to say about Paul McNeil Jr., shades of Nick Young. He gives me on the court with his ability to extend the floor and just be a hot rhythm-like shooter.
13 for McNeil in 14 minutes and a half. Cam Corrin hits the front end of the 1-on-1.
Pittsburgh was so dominant in their game yesterday. They were very intentional with Corrin, even though he was in foul trouble early, and see Ulepa attacking the rim and not settling and dominating the paint, which is what gave them a major advantage.
Yesterday's game was a 64-63 final. This one could get into the 50s by halftime. Copeland spinning around Corrin, met at the rim and foul. Omari Witherspoon came over to contest. The foul will be called on Witherspoon. That is his 3rd foul of this first half. So 3 Pitt players have 2. Witherspoon has 3. And again, Pitt has only used 7 players in each of the games here at Charlotte.
And Copeland is so good at putting pressure on the rim, averaging around 5.5 free throw attempts per game already with his 8th free throw attempt thus far in the first half.
Copeland drew 7 fouls in the first meeting with NC State. He's drawn 6 in the first half here. Cialeppa, who has 2, checks in for Witherspoon. Copeland 7 for 9 now at the line, splits the pair. State back up 2. At this rate, Bugger Copeland may leave Pitt with a couple of walk-ons by the end of the game. Dunning with a couple of threes early. Finds a cutting Indricitis. Down low, Corin.
Indricitis has been big time in this game, knocking down threes, gives him another ball handler and a playmaker on the court.
Pitt's most first half points against an ACC opponent this year. 46-46. Copeland again in the paint. Missed it this time. Final 90 of the half. Indricitis for Dunning. Shot fake into McNeil. Wraps it out to Corin. A rare 3-point try is off the iron. Only hit 14 of those on the season. Copeland. McNeil, a cutting. Lubin stuffs it. Van Allen Lubin with a dozen. 3 pack players in double figures in the final 50 seconds of this first of our 4 second-round games.
Cialeppa has to want the ball. Has McNeil Jr. on him down low. That's the play.
And McNeil will be called for the foul. It's his second. So 1-1 for Cialeppa.
Going to see the pass here by Indricitis over the top. Great recognition, great read by Corin to seal. And then Lubin, Paul McNeil Jr. does such a good job drawing so much attention. A good slip there by Van Allen Lubin and a strong finish at the rim. Now you take your eye off him for 1 second and McNeil Jr. That thing is going up in a heartbeat. And if you recover late with multiple people, also has really good vision to find cutters for NC State. McNeil just playing big-time basketball in the first half.
McNeil, their only scholarship returner from a team last year that didn't make it to the ACC tournament. But he really came on late in the year for NC State. Cialeppa, 48% free throw shooter, will get the second of the 1-1. And coming up next, Javon Hadley and the Louisville Cardinals. Hadley's been a real force for Louisville of late. Cards will be without Michael Brown against SMU. Might be first to 90. First 2 meetings between those teams this year, the winners had 88 and 95. Louisville and SMU following us on ESPN at 2:30 Eastern. 48-48, final half minute of the first. Glenn Williams had a quiet first half. McNeil, Copeland, and Lubin have done all the scoring. Copeland kicks it for Williams, who makes his presence felt late. Second 3 for Williams. NC State gets to half 102. Pitt for the final shot. Indricitis down to Corin. High arc and floater goes. 51-50. The first half that Rush could love. McNeil and Copeland and Lubin and Corin and Indricitis and Dunning. Big scoring halves for these 2 teams for whom defense has been optional and offense has been flying.
Well, both teams shooting over 50% from the three-point line and 50% from the floor. Not what we expected at all from a Pittsburgh team where you thought their legs would be heavy and a lot of shots would be short. We're seeing high-flying offense, but we'll see both teams settle into the second half. And one team will need to win this game, and it will be on the defensive end.
A first half where both teams shoot over 60%, go 16 for 25 combined from 3. Pitt Panthers, who slugged their way out against Stanford 64-63 yesterday, put up 50 but trail. Williams with a late 3. Cord with the last bucket. Let's get you to West. 3D, Joel and Jim.
Kevin, thank you very much. Welcome to the Sargento halftime report. Let's get to the ball game. My goodness. It was 61-61 yesterday with Pitt and Stanford. Joel, what is going on in the opening 20?
This is 3D and I's type of game right here. This is getting it up right here.
Who's in this game? I mean, we got two of the best shooters and the worst defensive players in the country.
Hold on, Coach.
Right here.
Hold on,
If I'd have played for you, we'd have played the zone. I wouldn't have to worry about it.
That's right. That's
We would have had more legs to shoot more
Exactly. I
shots.
was still getting 30. I might have gotten 40, Coach.
You would have rested, though, on defense. We actually, but, you know, honestly, these teams are playing great offensive basketball, and Pitt is in foul trouble. That's what's going to hurt them. The free throw line decides a lot of games. You look at the free throw line, it's not pretty. 20-5.
Confidence is everything. I mean, yesterday, for Pitt, it was getting the ball in the paint. Now it's shooting threes, but they're shooting quality threes. I think this is a little uncharacteristic for Pitt to have this many points. They like to slow it down, but I thought they've done a great job on the offensive end, and then defensively, they got to show a little bit more resistance. You got to have Quadir Copeland, make him a scorer, not a passer.
No, you hit it right on the head, and most teams have done that all season long in the ACC, making Copeland a scorer. But Coach Will Wade has reminded him, everyone needs to eat. Let's remind our viewers, he had 16 assists in league play this year. So whenever he shares the basketball, attacks the paint, normally NC State scores the ball well. One last thing, when's the last time we see NC State play defense like this? That's why they're in this ball game, to Pitt making shots.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. Jeff Capel's team has no history of trailing at the half this year and winning a game. 2-16, the 18 times they trailed at halftime. They led yesterday against Stanford. This event can do some weird things sometimes.
This halftime report is presented by Sargento Natural American.
Leading Pitt 51-50, Barry Dunning Jr. and the Panthers. They'll have to break the trend of trailing at the half if they're to upset the Wolfpack and be the first 15 to advance to the quarters.
This halftime report is presented by Sargento Natural American.
Coming up from Charlotte tonight on ACC Network, following the games, a full edition of Nothing But Net, reviewing all of round 2 here at Spectrum Center. You'll get action on all 4 games, analysis, highlights, and more. Taylor Tannenbaum with Joel Berry, Luke Hancock, Carlos
DJ's in the building.
Jim Boeheim, and maybe even DJ Burns. I don't know.
Hey,
Thanks
big
for
fella.
watching the Sargento halftime report. Kevin and Jay Will back with half 2.
You're watching ESPN's Champ Week presented by Principal. Welcome back to the T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. First time in 10 years since Duke NC State in the second round of 2016. Both teams put up 50 in the first half at the ACC Tournament. NC State has one more. Kevin Brown, Jay Williams back with you. Pitt grinds out this win yesterday, scores 64 points against Stanford. They're halfway to 100 and losing.
Well, the only thing I can think that actually sums up the first half, offense mandatory, defense optional. And both teams shot over 60% from the three-point line. It started with Copeland attacking and getting to the rim with 9 free throw attempts and 11 points with 4 assists in the first half. Most of them to Paul McNeil Jr., who had 14 points, 3 of 3 from the three-point line. And then Pitt did it on their offensive end as well, knocking down 9 made threes, shooting 56% from the three-point line in the first half.
6 different players in double figures, 16 of 25 threes combined. NC State bruising at the line. Is this sustainable for either team?
I think it's more sustainable for NC State than it is for Pitt. If you're Pitt, you still want to slow down this game. You don't want it to be an up and down pace where you're trying to score 100 points. I still think Pitt needs to get back to what they do best, which is attacking the rim and crashing the offensive glass.
Pitt has real foul trouble concerns as well. Witherspoon with 3, Minor, Cialepa, and Moore with 2. 4 of their 7 rotation players have multiple fouls. They get a tough 3 to start from Minor. For NC State, McNeil with 13.5, Copeland 11 and 4 assists. Lubin had 12, Williams had 6. Wolfpack 7 of 9 from 3, 16 of 20 at the line. Copeland inside. There's 2. One more free throw coming. Quadir Copeland with an early flex and a 3-point opportunity.
This is what makes Will Wade's offense so great. When Copeland recognizes the height differentiation, he takes advantage of it. They clear out a whole side, and they put Pittsburgh in a compromising position. A guy 6'1", guarding a guy who is 6'7". And they will punish that matchup each and every possession, and Copeland knows it.
Foul is Corrin's second. So 5 Pitt players have multiple fouls, 40 seconds into the half. Copeland is responsible for drawing 7 of the 12 fouls committed by Pitt. 4 points ties the largest lead for NC State. Does Pitt have the legs or the bodies here, Jay Well, in the second half playing back-to-back days?
And they're going to have no choice. We said earlier that this game comes down to toughness, and grit is in the details and executing. And thus far, NC State has been stepping up.
Witherspoon, did he get it off in time? It's irrelevant now. There's Williams down the floor. Left-handed delivery to Copeland in the corner. McNeil, no good. Lubin cannot follow, but he is fouled. A lot of whistles here. Ron Gruber blows his as Lubin got fouled by Dunning. It's only his first.
What a kick out. I mean, look at the play. Stays under control, avoids the offensive foul, finds McNeil, and then Lubin just crashing the offensive glass. NC State playing more Pittsburgh-style basketball by attacking the rim. Pittsburgh with 2 3-point shots to start this second half.
And Alan Lubin perfect at the line today. He had a stretch this season where he made 24 straight second half shots between games. He's 68% on the year, and even better after halftime. And this 6-point lead is the largest for NC State now. Remember, a state team that, according to Joe Lenardi, is in the last 4 byes, and less needs to win this game, more cannot afford to lose it. Cialepa is fouled by Lubin, his second.
Cialepa was so aggressive yesterday, attacking the rim every possession. Thus far today, if it's heavy legs or a tired mindset, has really not been implementing that rugby-like style of play that we saw yesterday. Needs to get back to those gritty type of ways.
And that is Cialepa in Brisbane, where he has that rugby background. I mean, he just destroyed Stanford inside yesterday. 5 offensive rebounds, 14 points. One of the best Australian prospects in years. Played well for Australia in the FIBA Under-19 World Cup last year. Today, he only has 2 rebounds, and he does not have a single offensive board. To be fair, Pitt has only missed 13 shots, but his impact has been limited. Copeland against Minor. Copeland. Williams there to bail him out.
Give it to him again. That's exactly right.
On the kick, Williams puts it home for 3.
We go to it until there's no more water left in the well. If Minor's going to guard Copeland, that's going to be the mismatch. They're going to attack every time. Everybody on the perimeter is going to have their hands ready to shoot it.
I wonder what is the gas tank on for Pitt right now. The fuel gauge is starting to look like it's reading empty. And the lead is double digits on a Copeland dunk. 61-51. A desperately needed timeout for Pitt.
We said earlier that everything started with Quadir Copeland. His ability to attack, his ability to make reads, doing it on the defensive end. See you later, not Cialepa with a big-time finish. This is the type of play that you want if you're an NC State fan. Points off turnovers and being the tougher team.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let our expertise round out yours. That dunk by Quadir Copeland, Jay, capping off a 10-1 state run.
Well, also, if Quadir Copeland goes up with his right hand, Cialepa's going to try to block that. He contorts his body and gets out of the way of Cialepa. Look at here. Cialepa's going to go for the block with his left hand, contorts his body, spins, and finishes at the rim. I swear, his game reminds me that of Andre Miller that used to play in the NBA for a long time. Just very crafty, very intentional, can use his size and his frame to get to certain spots on the floor.
And he's led NC State to a 10-point lead. What a difference a half makes. Will Wade called a timeout at the 17:37 mark of the first half, down 8-2. Jeff Capel calls a timeout at the 17:37 mark of the second half because his team is down 10. And again, does Pitt have anything left in the tank here after that last second win over Stanford yesterday?
Well, the only way they can stay in this game is not by playing NC State style, which is to run and gun. They have to control the tempo. Like you said, the slowest paced team in the ACC, and they have to continue to attack the ball down low. But for Pitt, it also starts on the defensive end. Got to get stops.
Fowler's the second on Williams. Corin one more. Got it. Minor's on the bench for Pitt. Intercitus, who had 12 points, didn't miss a shot, and had 4 assists in the first half is in. Check those numbers out. 1 for 7 start. State has hit 16 of 20 since then. And 19 of 23 at the line. Williams, Copeland, fake. Little fake behind the back pass and finish. He's tap dancing his way out of there.
Copeland has now accounted for 32 of his team's points off points and assists.
Witherspoon back from Corin. He'll drive it and finish. Witherspoon with 13. 18 and 5 for Quadir Copeland. 4 rebounds and a steal as well. Nearly turned it over. Holloman will take a 3. That will go. NC State is unstoppable. This is NBA Jam level stuff. Witherspoon on the ground. Corin sticks with it and draws the 3rd foul on Lubin.
He said one of the craftiest players in the game. Look, and Corin just fights for it. It's so intentional. Look how methodical he is with the delivery. Really sells it. He's not only a salesman on the court, but also with the way he displays his passion.
You said he reminded you of Andre Miller earlier with his game savvy. What did that remind you of?
Well, he's so good at changing speeds, and he's so long. And he could sell passes with that length and with his eyes. And you know he's constantly in attack mode. I said it earlier, we have a shot of him at the half-court line before the game even started, just staring at the Pittsburgh Panther players. He does this each and every game. He is the attitude and the true persona of what NC State is each and every game. They go as Quadir Copeland does.
Will Wade's told us this year, I know Q's going to do something spectacular in the game. I'm not always sure who it's going to be spectacular for, but it's been pretty well unanimous spectacular for NC State here. Williams was on the out-of-bounds line. NC State is up by 10, and Quadir Copeland is having the time of his life. The dunk around Cialepa, 2 of his 18 points. A little flex, a little dance, a little lead. Unlikely heroes in March. Sebastian Akins playing big minutes with an injured Nate Calmise. Had a hard 2. He added 1 more for Wake Forest in overtime, and the Demon Deacons likely ended Virginia Tech's NCAA tournament hopes with a 6-point overtime win. Here's the bracket in the T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Tournament. Wake Clemson is the nightcap. Florida State is playing really well against a Cal team on the bubble. Our next game is Louisville and SMU. And then Duke, Virginia, Miami, and Carolina, Jay, are waiting on Thursday.
You got to think with Duke having Caleb Foster out with a broken foot, Patrick Gungba, who's not going to play in the ACC tournament, this tournament feels wide open. I know North Carolina, no Caleb Wilson, but they're still there in the hunt. Jay Lucas, who I thought, outside of John Shire, was the next best coach in the league this year for Coach of the Year, has done a great job with Trey Donaldson and Malik Renault, the way they play. This tournament feels wide open for anybody to get the win.
Bube commits his second foul. Give me a team in today's second round games that you think could make a run to the final.
Surprisingly, I think if NC State plays with passion and intentionality, I know that's not been the most consistent thing from this team, but with their shooting ability, even with their lack of height, they have the ability to make another run.
Started 9-2 in the league, 1-6 in their last 7, leading by 10. Again, they're part of the last 4 byes for Joel Lunardi. Need to win this game. Is it going to take away?
The same question that we've had as broadcasters is the same question that Will Wade has had for this team. Which one decides to show up? Because the one that decides to show up, that plays with aggressiveness on the defensive end and plays downhill, is a really good basketball team.
Abel short on a 3. It's the first possession in the second half where NC State didn't score. Dating back to the first half, State had scored on 9 straight possessions. Makari Moore, the freshman, puts in his first 2. Look at Copeland. This is a smart play. Nobody's going to pick him up. He'll just air out the game clock.
Yep.
He didn't touch it for 14 seconds after Moore made the basket. Abel. In the first game, NC State scored on 14 of its final 15 possessions. Now it's 10 of the last 11. Holloman with another 3. 10th for the Wolfpack and the 3rd for Trey.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Off the fingers of Dunning, it's a Pitt turnover.
Just unforced errors for Pittsburgh. Corn just being loose with the basketball. There's really no defensive pressure on him at all. Just an errant pass.
4 State players in double figures. Williams right behind him with 9. Copeland. Off the window.
I mean, how patient is he? Hits Corn with the spin move, gives him multiple head fakes, and then leans slightly out of the way to get a nice angled shot at the rim.
20 for Copeland. Game unraveling for Pitt. Indricitis. Another turnover. Holloman has Abel ahead of him. Abel with a left-handed delivery. Another timeout. Will Wade is losing his mind in a good way right now for NC State. Pumping his fist, screaming, howling as he headed into the huddle. The kind of positive emotion we really haven't seen much from Will all year.
Just careless turnovers, and Matt Abel, what a big-time finish with the left hand to avoid the contact. You thought he was going to actually yam that one for a second. And NC State just getting a lot of momentum. DJ Burns feeling it. You think he knows about a run and march?
The literal centerpiece of that magical run 2 years ago when they went 5 for 5 in D.C. All they have to do is win 4 and 4 here.
I mean, was that not the best story during March Madness? They talked about a team that was just down and out, comes to the ACC tournament, wins 5 games in 5 days, and DJ Burns turns into a household name. The guy was doing NIL appearances before games and still dropping buckets.
One of the great stories ever at the ACC was NC State's 11th ACC tournament title, and there never ever been one like that. Nobody had ever had a tournament title like that. 5 in 5 days. NC State was an afterthought. And a couple weeks later, they were a Final Four team. Corin will get to the line for a 3-point opportunity. The 3rd foul on Scotty Ebube.
And what you're seeing from Jeff Capel in Pittsburgh is after every timeout, their ATO after a timeout play is established to get the ball back in the paint. The only way Pitt gets in this game is if they slow down the tempo, if they force NC State to take bad shots on the defensive end, and if they attack the paint.
Corin with 17 in the game, follows up his own miss with some thunder. 19 for Cameron Corin. Doesn't want this to be the last game of his career.
Devil in the detail. Nobody for NC State boxed out the shooter.
NC State has let some big leads slip away this year, so Will Wade certainly does not feel secure. That will help. Abel, another long-range shot. It's 11 of 15 for State from 3. Team-wide Midas touch. Into Corin, fouled again by Ebube. He's picked up 3 fouls in short order in the half and 4 in the game. And Moussa Sanye, for the first time, is going to come into the game. If Ebube can get around Cam Corin.
Are those basketball players or linemen?
6'10", 280 Wyoming transfer. Sanye, the freshman from the Gambia, is in the game. Entangled with Corin right now. Witherspoon, downhill drive. And a whistle will go against Copeland. 7 fouls already in the half on NC State. Copeland has some thoughts. NC State hoping to hear their name called on Selection Sunday. We'll have it with you starting with Sports Center this Sunday, 6 Eastern. Reese Davis and the gang, including UJ Williams, look at the field of 68, bracketology, and then the NCAA Women's Selection Special after that.
It's a busy couple of days, Kev. I don't know if I'm going to have time in between the runs to Home Depot and, you know, the Big 12 tournament going on, and then to the SEC championship game on Sunday, Selection Sunday. We'll be seeing, obviously, if we talk about NC State being in the field of 68.
What are you going to get at Home Depot?
We're going this afternoon. You don't know about that movie reference, do you?
But
you looked at me with the side eye.
Is that where the song Know Yourself comes from?
Well, I had to tell you who sang that song.
Yeah. You said it was Drake, and obviously I'm Team Kendrick, so I haven't gotten involved in that. Abel, no good for 3.
Jeff Capel taking on the risk there of saying, okay, NC State, if you're hot from the three-point line, you're going to have to continue to beat us from the outside. That's why you see Pitt in the 2-3 zone.
Minor. Double team for Corin. He finds Witherspoon. Passed up an open 3, took a step back.
I don't know why you don't take the wide open one and make the other one more difficult.
Abel. Witherspoon driving and fouled and finishes. Well, Pitt can get to the line too, and they are putting NC State in some foul trouble here. Scratching and clawing for their season, the Pitt Panthers and the NC State Wolfpack. Been a high-flying show for the Pack, hoping for another great run at the ACC tournament. What a show by NC State, shooting 64% from the field. Remember, NC State came into this game 1-6 in their last 7. Not necessarily that a loss would knock them out, because they played a really tough non-conference schedule, did a lot of work early. But this would be a quad 3 loss. This certainly would be a game that would put them in a much more likely position to go to the first 4. And NC State's job is not done, Jay, but so far a good response for Will Wade's team.
Yeah, 11:33 is a lot of time left in the ball game, in particular in the second half. The critical thing for NC State is they can't be lured into taking quick three-point shots against this Pittsburgh zone. They have to continue to try to attack, play inside out. They take quick shots that allows Pitt to control the tempo of the game.
Pitt extending pressure with Dunning at the top of the zone. Holloman all alone. And his three grabbed by Andrusaitis. Pushing the tempo for Pittsburgh. Dunning a pull-up three. That will go. Lead is down to 7.
Every shot has been a three-point shot for NC State. They have not attacked the paint at all against this zone.
Again, they've got Dunning, one of their longer, more athletic players, at the top of this zone. Williams couldn't squeeze it through, got bailed out by a kick.
You know, instead of Williams being on the perimeter, you want Williams at the free throw line so he can turn and make a play. Somebody has to flash from the weak side that has the ability to put the ball down on the ground and be a threat to score.
Quadir Copeland, after a very short rest, 42 seconds, comes back in. Nice find by Williams down to Lubin.
Good job by Williams right there. The ball fake towards the perimeter and attacking down low with Van Allen Lubin.
They've often this year, when Copeland sits, let Williams be the de facto point guard. Very willing passer. Dunning denied by Lubin.
NC State is doubling Corrin on the catch. And Corrin has to be able to turn and look opposite. There's a wide open skip pass every time.
Very quiet game for DeMarco Minor. 3 points, 1 for 3.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
Andrusaitis will hoist instead. 4 for 4 from deep. Noyes Andrusaitis. It's a 6-point game. On the kick, a 3 for Terrence Arsenault is good. His first shot in 8 minutes. It was nearly an $8 trillion for Arsenault before the Houston transfer gets in the book. Andrusaitis again, the Iowa State transfer. Top 100 kid a couple of years ago out of Brewster Academy.
Good pass.
Corrin finishes, he's got 21. Ken Corrin is just too shy of a season high, and Oakland again is just going to let the ball roll.
Well, Minor doing a really good job of not over dribbling there, getting to a spot. The defense collapsed. He made the quick play.
McNeil for Williams, guarded by Minor. Now guarded by Corrin, and Williams is pushed. Only the 3rd foul in the half on Pitt. It's DeMarco Minor's 3rd.
Well, DeMarco Minor is so imperative to their offense, a guy that can get into the gaps and the teeth of it. But due to his size and the way NC State plays, turns into somewhat of a liability on a defensive end. NC State a taller, longer, more active team, and they're just attacking matchups.
Abel will drive it into Witherspoon and went straight up.
Pass by Witherspoon going vertical.
Did it with 3 fouls too. First missed 2-pointer of the half by NC State. And somehow, some way, Pitt getting shredded defensively is only down 7. Andrusaitis, his first miss, missed everything.
Good job by Copeland contesting and not fouling there. When Pittsburgh plays in a frantic style offensively, they're not at their best.
Copeland guarded by Corrin. Abel. Cialeppa with a strong contest on Abel this time, but his follow-up will go.
Good job with Matt Abel just staying with it, getting that offensive rebound off his mixed shot.
Look, there haven't been a lot of rebounding opportunities in this game, but NC State is 18-18. The first time they played Pitt, NC State was minus 21 on the glass. Corrin, was that deflected? No, he turns it over for a ninth time for Pitt. Corrin's 4th turnover.
And Lubin is doing such a great job just being extremely physical with Corrin. Squaring up that chest, he's meeting Corrin early, and he's the one initiating contact.
You asked the question off the top, Jay, who's going to be the tougher team? Based on results of late, Pitt would have been the favorite in that category. NC State has matched their physicality.
They have, and they've done that on the defensive end as well, forcing Pittsburgh to play a lot faster than the style in which they want to.
NC State by 9 as we hit the 8-minute timeout. Now for today's Experts at Work, brought to you by Principal.
Quadir Copeland has been spectacular in this ball game. 20 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and he's drawn several fouls on Pittsburgh players. You talk about a guy going for his first ACC tournament win. He was 0-2 here again with Syracuse before, and you can just tell only 2 assists in their last game against Stanford. Has been way more aggressive since the beginning of this game, just initiating the offense and being a pest on the defensive end.
Our experts at work, Copeland of the NC State Wolfpack, who lead by 9. Close runner-up, the folks who put together that ear-splitting dubstep remix of Oasis's Wonderwall we heard during the break. Shameful to do that to a modern classic. Not sure I will recover for a while from that, Jay, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you look extremely disappointed
I'm
in your
shaken,
eyes.
frankly. Williams 3. 13 triples for this NC State Supernova. Williams is 4 for 4 in the game. He's a 5th-pack player in the double figures. 6-pack player in the double figures. See, I'm all shook up by the whole Oasis thing.
Good job just rotating the ball. Corrin comes out with his hands down. And Darren Williams, a guy who you want to be more aggressive. But when he took Texas Tech to the Elite Eight, he averaged 21 and 8 and shot close to 50% from the field. They were talking about one of the hottest free agency prospects this summer that came here with the intentions of leading NC State on a big-time run. And the offensive team that we're seeing today making shots, you know, typically when you think about NC State, their defense is predicated upon their offense. That's not what we've seen today. And defensively in the first half, they came out, they stayed in the ball game, and they're really starting to clamp down in the second half.
And Pitt shooting 61% in the game. NC State 63. Corrin, 23 points, have tied a season high. But it's still a double-digit lead with under 7 to play. Copeland leading the way with 20. Lubin with 16. Quadir Copeland against Noyes Indrisitis. Copeland lost the dribble. Williams, touch pass, Abel. A brick. Here comes Pitt with Witherspoon. Indrisitis is at a big game. Got stripped by Copeland.
And Copeland's hands are so active. They get so many deflections. Even when you turn the corner, if he's behind you, you got to extend that ball and keep it away from his long wingspan. He could just reach around the back and tap it out of bounds.
Trey Holloman replaces Abel. 6:30 to go. Winner gets Virginia tomorrow, the number 2 seed. What a story. Cavaliers under first-year head coach Ryan Odom have been one of the most improved teams in the country. Noon tomorrow, Virginia versus the winner of this game, Indrisitis. Another 3. 18 for Indrisitis on 6 out of 7 shooting. And a new season high for the sophomore transfer from Iowa State. They didn't even know how much he could give them or if he could give them anything after the left thigh contusion. Indrisitis has given him his best offensive game of the year.
Can't leave him.
McNeil misses a break caught by Pitt. 7-point game. Still a lot of basketball left. A bucket here, and it's going to start to feel really interesting.
Good pass.
Cialepa from Corrin. Oh, he missed it, but there's a foul in there. Copeland is incensed. And it'll be a 2-shot foul, sending Cialepa to the line. Trey Holloman with his 3rd foul.
It's a big-to-big pass, and NC State switching on everything. The smaller Holloman guarding Cialepa. Cialepa wishes he had that one back. He knows it. That should have been the and one.
Only 5 points in the game today. How about this? 4 for 5 from the line for a kid shooting just 48%.
Same for as hot as NC State has been shooting the ball behind the three-point line. We only have a 6-point game.
One more for Roman Cialepa. Doesn't look like a 48% free throw shooter. From Brisbane, Australia. Hadn't been his typical bruising game, but he's now contributed 7 points. 7 straight for Pittsburgh. It's getting a little hairy here.
Smart from Witherspoon. You can go under ball screens on Copeland.
And Copeland draws a foul for the 8th time. More free throws are coming. Winner of this game gets Virginia. The winner of our next game gets Miami. That next game is SMU and Louisville. Hoopy Miller's been red hot. He'll have to be great today with B.J. Edwards out again due to an injured ankle. SMU is the second to last team in Joe Lunardi's projected field. They are teetering perilously on the bubble cliff. Remember, that projected field doesn't include a potential second team in the MAC with Miami, Ohio. A potential quote-unquote bid thief maybe in the A-10 or any of these power conferences. So the bubble may start to shrink even further.
And a guy like Hoopy Miller over his last 2 games, averaging 29 points per game, shooting 57% from the field. A guy who's really around 5'10", 5'11", one of the smallest players in college basketball.
Free throws for Copeland are good. He's at 22. Lead is at 7. First game of our second round quadruple header. State by 7, a 7 seed. Holloman all over Indrusitis on that catch. Swing it out. Cialepa. Corin out hustles for the rebound. And Indrusitis bricks a 3-point try. Look at the dive and the effort by Cialepa, but he came up short. The rugby player getting on the floor, but couldn't survive the possession.
Almost got to him.
Kid has started every game in his freshman year, a year where Jeff Capel figured I could rotate him in and out with Deshaun Jackson, who never played, and Papa Conte, who only played 8 games. Seriously undermanned Pitt team has had this great late season push. Do they have enough? Williams for Holloman.
Good job by Indrusitis to stay down and stay disciplined.
End of the shot clock heave through the iron. Rebound Indrusitis. Closing in on 4 to play. Indrusitis, Corin, pass deflected by Williams, and then it hits Cialepa on the way out.
And that's where you just want Corin to put the ball down on the ground and attack the rim. Dunk it. I know he's trying to be a playmaker right there, but Williams is waiting for him. You can't telegraph the pass. Turn, face, and go. Attack.
5 turnovers for Corin. And Copeland will turn it over here. Maybe 3 minutes and 57 seconds left in Pitt's season. NC State up 7. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. With 3:57 to go, NC State not necessarily a must-win. ESPN Analytics says still about a 70% chance to make the tournament with a loss. But 70% is not good enough for Will Wade, whose team might fall into the last 4 in with a quad 3 loss. With a win, they're pretty well secure. Net of 35, the wins above bubble of 43, 5 quad 1 wins, all that stuff. Doesn't matter right now, but that has set the table for NC State to try to win this game, get to the quarterfinals against Virginia.
And I think if NC State were to lose this game, they would probably be in Dayton for the play-in. Due to their metrics, probably makes more sense, but still a lot on the line for both teams. NCAA tournament stakes, and also a team playing for their head coach with Jeff Capel, with a lot of rumors floating around about this may be his last year as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Panthers.
His 8th year at Pitt, only one NCAA tournament. The last couple of years have been really tough
Go
for
attack,
Pitt.
man.
That's what you were looking for from Corin, who ties a career high with 25 in his possible finale.
And the people at home, you're getting the real me as a guard here. When a guy like Corin or any of your bigs catch the ball, if they have the ability to put the ball on the ground, you want them to dunk that thing every time. Attack the rim, get to the free throw line, play aggressively.
Copeland leads the way with 22, one of 6-pack players in double figures. Back from Williams. Copeland on a drive, a scoop, and a score! 24 for Quadir. Under 3 minutes to play. Miner. Taking a long time to initiate the offense. Pitt doesn't have a long time. Indrasitis off a Corin screen. Cialepa. Indrasitis. No. Cialepa finally picks up an offensive rebound. His first of the game.
Why'd he kick it out? He should have went straight up.
Dunning with a contested long 2. Cialepa went for another, missed it, and feels the pain of it. On the lob, Lubin is fouled.
And Cialepa right here gets the offensive rebound. Play develops, shot goes up. It's a poor shot. That's not the one he got. But the play before, he got the offensive rebound, was point blank at the rim, and decided to kick it out instead of just going straight up.
We're getting an official review now, maybe on that hard foul against Lubin. 2:13 to go. Ron Groover, Clarence Armstrong, Justin Porterfield huddle up. 7-point NC State lead. The foul was called against Cam Corin, number 2 in blue.
Ruling on a play is a common foul on number 2 for Pitt. The play is under review for potential flagrant.
Corin didn't appear to touch him too much.
Well, when a person's in front of you and he's already left the air, you can't put your hands on him from behind. Even if it is a little, that momentum could take you a very long way.
We've seen contact that is marginal contact still be called for flagrant if it's deemed excessive and or unnecessary.
I mean, if anything, you try to jump and you try to meet him at the rim and you go for the ball. Just putting your hands on his lower back after he's already left the floor does not put the offensive player in a safe position.
We'll get an explanation from Justin Porterfield. And it has been upgraded to a flagrant 1, no play on the ball. There are 2 areas now we've now seen.
The call on the floor be upgraded to a flagrant 1 foul. NC State will have 2 shots and receive the ball on the baseline.
2 areas
20 on the shot clock.
we've now seen this tournament, Jay, where you get a lot of flagrants. That's one you mentioned, players in the air. And then yesterday, late in the Wake Forest game, Toby Lowell with an arm to a face of a Wake Forest player. Wasn't intentional, but contact to the head or neck area or contact of a player in the air, those are often the plays that get upgraded to flagrant.
And as the referee said, you have to make a play on the ball. That's why I initially said, hey, if you want to stop or deter that play, you jump, you try to meet Lubin at the rim with the basketball, but putting your hands on his back after he's already left, that is a flagrant 1.
So 2-shot foul for Lubin. 7 for 7 at the line today. What a game for Van Allen Lubin. 5 for 6 from the field, 7 for 7 from the line.
Just career highs in points and rebounds and efficiency.
Gets them both, and it'll be NC State possession. 2 shots on the ball. Up by 9 with 2:13 to go. Pitt has shot it at 57%, 12 of 26 threes. NC State 60%, 13 of 23 threes. Into McNeil, he slipped free for an easy 2. 15 for McNeil.
Dunning jumped out to try to stop that corner pass and left the most important angle towards the basket wide open. Right under the rim.
Into Corin again, fouled by Darian Williams. Double bonus, 2-shot foul for Corin.
Now you're going to see the inbounds pass here. Look at Dunning, 22, guarding underneath the rim, and then he just slowly shifts. It's not really cutting off that corner. You got to protect underneath the basket. There's no way that pass should be able to go right underneath the rim.
Ken Corin with a new career high 26 at the other end. Could be his final college game of his 125 game career. And his previous career high had come March 5th, 2024 for Florida State at Pitt. So you think that was a pretty easy scout for Jeff Capel in the portal? Corin with 27. Right now it doesn't look like it'll be enough unless Pitt has a miracle in the final 100 seconds.
It's all about game management now for NC State down the stretch, utilizing as much of the shot clock as possible.
Holloman with 5. Holloman will go. Holloman will get the bounce. 12 for Holloman and an 11-point lead with 1:19 remaining. Ron Groover stopped the proceedings for a moment. Indrositis. Witherspoon takes the 3. And Cialeppa came charging in on Holloman. It's a foul on Roman Cialeppa. Maybe a little bit of a moment of desperation for a Pitt team that has been playing with desperation for weeks, but has reached the final summit of its season.
Holloman gets hit here in the eye. He thinks there's contact right there. I don't know if that's a foul Cialeppa. It might just be a jump ball. Still Pittsburgh trying to play with energy down the stretch, leaving everything on the floor, considering the predicament that this team and their head coach is in.
Capel said yesterday, I can't say enough about these guys. We went through that gauntlet. We played all the top teams in a row, and that could have killed our spirit, and it didn't. It's a group that believes, and he's so happy with the way his team believed down the stretch just to make it to Charlotte. They probably burst Cal's bubble a couple of weeks ago. Unless Cal goes on a run here, they probably burst Stanford's bubble yesterday.
NC State came out, they were the tougher team today, and they played better offensively.
One-handed putback by Holloman will ice it.
But I will say this, I've watched Ibuka Okori play a lot of games this season. It was one of the best defensive performances I've seen all year, the job that Pittsburgh did to get that win.
Well, coming up on ACC Network and the ESPN app tonight, it's nothing but net. They'll have a post-game breakdown as well. The whole day later tonight, they'll be breaking down in between games, highlights, analysis, look at the quarterfinals. Our next game, 2:30, is over on ESPN, SMU and Louisville. And the Virginia Cavaliers are awaiting the winner of this one.
Get a chance to see Jaron Pierre Jr. had 17 points yesterday for SMU in less than 10 minutes in the second half. I call him a microwave scorer. A guy that needs to put, considering VJ Edwards is out once again for SMU. Pierre Jr. has to be special.
And Jeff Capel is going to make another substitution, get Indrositis out of the game. They'll leave Corin and Dunning, the seniors, along with Minor on the floor. 3 seniors for Pitt. Last time in a college basketball game.
Quadir Copeland has accounted for 45 points between his points and assists. He typically accounts for 31, so plus 14 for what he typically brings to the table. Just a demonstrative, aggressive performance by your leader.
And now Jeff Capel is going to get his seniors out of the game. Cam Corrin, DeMarco Minor, and Barry Dunning Jr., none of whom started their careers at Pitt, all of whom ended, all of whom showed great grit and toughness down the stretch of this season. But it is going to be the fourth 20-loss season in Pitt men's basketball history. A disappointing season for Pitt, despite a tough finish, will conclude. NC State will continue its run. The last time they were at the ACC tournament, they won 5 games in 5 days, took the whole thing. They're 1 for 1 here. They win 98-88.
And you're going to win a lot of games when you shoot 57% from the three-point line, making a total of 13 and 61% from the field.
25 combined threes in this game, tied a tournament record. NC State hit 13 of them, and they will face the Virginia Cavaliers, noon Eastern, ESPN 2 tomorrow. Big game coming up on ESPN in a half-hour. Louisville and a desperate, bubbly SMU team. That'll do it for us here from Charlotte for now on ESPN 2. Jay Williams, our outstanding crew. I'm Kevin Brown. We'll send you to SportsCenter with Matt Barry and Jay Harris.
We're already 1 game into the second round, and that was NC State. And to be honest with you, Pitt controlled the tempo early in the ball game, and then Quadir Copeland got rolling, Joel.
Yeah, well, he's a really good player. He finds people. He knows how to play. And, you know, I didn't screw him up in the year he was at Syracuse.
Him up? You didn't coach him up?
No, I didn't mess him up.
Okay, all right.
But he's become a really good player in this league. He can get to the basket against anybody. And, you know, if he could shoot the jumper, he'd really be good.
No, and Joe, think about it. Nights when he scores like this, it kind of catches people off guard because he's really a facilitator first.
Exactly, and then they started knocking down shots.
Quadir Copeland was spectacular in the first game for NC State. Brought the sizzle in the state, 24 points, high-stepped his way to the quarterfinals. The State will face Virginia, noon Eastern, ESPN 2 tomorrow. It'll be a good one.
All right, here's a look at how the ACC bracket is shaping up. After that, the big boys starting their play tomorrow. All right, much more from the world of college basketball. Starting 5 of things that you need to know right now. Number 1, can't beat afternoon hoops, starting off with NC State and Pitt. Quadir Copeland uses a sweet move to get to the rim. Powered NC State to a 98-88 win with his 24 points and 8 assists. All right, Jay Williams working the ACC games. Jay, what stood out to you so far in ACC tournament play?
You know, obviously I would talk about Quadir Copeland. I think this is the NC State team right there on the bubble. They came into this game losing 4 straight. They played against a Pittsburgh team that was really tough. Honestly, the other day against a guy named Ibuka Okori, I saw one of the best defensive performances from Pitt. And I think for a team like North Carolina State, you always question their toughness. You know, what team would show up? And I think we got a Quadir Copeland team, obviously almost with a triple-double today, that really came to play. Offensively, both teams played well in the first half, but down the stretch, NC State made the right plays to advance. And I think NC State, similar to maybe what you saw 2 years ago, not saying they're going to make the same miraculous Final Four run, but when they get it going offensively, they could be an elite team if they play that way.
Fall tournament. 4 teams slapping stickers on the board to advance to the quarterfinals. NC State was pushed. The Cards held on to move on. And guys, there may be no one hotter in this league than the Noles and Clemson in the nightcap. Left absolutely no room for doubt. There's Carter Welling slapping on that Tiger Paw.
I want to be very clear. This is not a rebuild. We're going to be in the top part of the ACC next year, and we're going to the NCAA tournament. This is not something that's going to take a whole lot of time. It's tough. We got a lot of nice guys. Got great team GPA, over 3.0. It's wonderful. You know, I'm tired of hearing about frickin' Darian. So everybody needs to shut the hell up about him. He's a damn good player.
We love a good compilation of sound bites from Will Wade. Pitt The 15 seed taking on NC State today, the 7 seed. Start of the second half, Q Quadir Copeland, Joel.
Yeah, he had a little showtime right here. Today was his type of game. He was out there scoring the basketball, but also dishing it out for assists as well. But show me, nope, to the rim.
He was emptying the clip today against Pitt. NC State up 11 at that point. Still early in the second. Trey Holloman, the steal. The freshman Matt Abel capitalizes on the other end. Look who's here. Big DJ Burns in the building, but Pitt wasn't going to go away quietly, that's for sure. Cam Corrin has been big for the Panthers, Luke.
Get your own rebound off the free throw, and that kind of dunk, that is impressive.
He had a game-high 27. They cut it to single digits, but then Ben Allen Lubin gets the bucket, extends the lead for NC State. Then on the other end, Noyes Andrositis, he brings them within 7 again, but trying to put things away. Copeland drives, kiss off the glass, 24-8. For him as NC State advances 98-88. That was a high-scoring affair. You leave feeling what about NC State while they advance with a win over Pitt?
Well, I thought offensively they looked good. Scored 98 points. My only concern is you give up 88 points to one of the worst offenses in the ACC. That's my concern, especially going against this UVA team. But the one thing about NC State, when they knock down shots, you got to watch out.
I agree, but Pitt played great basketball. Again, if they played like this the whole season, we might be in a different situation. They did play well today, but defensively, that will not win moving forward.
Big test tomorrow against Virginia.
If Quadir Copeland plays like this, what can they do big picture?
Beat anyone in the ACC. They can win the ACC championship when Quadir Copeland is not turning the basketball over, he's scoring, and he's setting up his teammates. 6 assists in the first half for guys hitting threes. He had 7 assists total, racking up points.
All right, so NC State advances up next. 3rd time's the charm against Virginia. Lost to them twice during the regular season. They'll get another whack at them tomorrow.